The fluorescent lights in the HR office buzzed like angry hornets, casting a sickly glow over Karen's desk. She was the kind of HR rep who smiled too wide, like she was selling used cars instead of handling people's livelihoods. "Emily, I apologize for the mix-up," she said, her voice dripping with that fake empathy they teach in corporate training videos. "It's just a processing error. Your bonus should clear by end of next week." I sat there, fingers gripping the arms of the cheap plastic chair, feeling the heat rise in my chest. This was the 4th time in 6 months. My performance bonus, tied to the massive deal I'd single-handedly structured for our top investor, vanishing into some digital black hole while everyone else got paid on time. I nodded, forcing a tight smile.
"Sure. Karen."
"Thanks for looking into it." But inside, something snapped, not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet fracture, like ice cracking underfoot on a frozen lake. I'd been at Vanguard Investments for 7 years, crunching numbers, building models, turning chaotic data into gold for clients who threw millions our way. And for what? To be treated like an afterthought, a glitch in their system. As I walked back to my cubicle, the open plan office felt smaller. The chatter of my colleagues like white noise drowning out the rage building in my gut. Mark, my manager, was laughing at his desk, probably about some golf outing with the execs. He hadn't even bothered to follow up on my emails about the bonus. Motivation, he called it last time, with a wink that made my skin crawl. That afternoon, I didn't storm out or fire off a resignation. Instead, I opened my laptop and dove into the archives, the digital graveyard where old projects went to die. I knew every file, every timestamp, because I'd been the one burying the bodies. And there it was, buried in a folder from 2 years back, the Hawthorne Fund integration. Our biggest client, a hedge fund pumping over $10 million annually into our advisory services. They demanded a custom analytics dashboard, something our outdated systems couldn't handle without months of red tape. Legal had dragged their feet, so I'd stepped in. Used my consultancy, I'd suggested in a rushed Zoom call. My side LLC, Apex Analytics, set up for freelance gigs during grad school. It was clean, compliant, and fast. They signed off without a second glance, eager to close the deal. I scrolled through the contract, my heart picking up speed. Clause 9C. All proprietary tools and vendor integrations remain under the originating entity's control unless explicitly transferred via written amendment. No amendment. No transfer. Nothing but their signatures and my LLC's name etched in digital ink. I'd built that dashboard from scratch, algorithms, data pipelines, everything tailored to Hawthorne's trades. And I'd maintained it ever since, fielding their late-night calls, tweaking models while the firm took the credit in boardroom presentations. A chill settled over me. Not fear, but a crystal-clear focus. This wasn't just a payroll screw-up anymore. It was an opportunity, a door they'd left wide open because they never thought I'd walk through it. By evening, the office had emptied, leaving only the hum of the AC and the faint scent of stale coffee. I stayed, poring over logs. Every update, every patch tied to Apex. Hawthorne's lead, Victor, always emailed me directly. "Emily, you're the wizard here. Fix this before trading opens." Not Mark. Not the VPs.
Me.
And now, staring at that clause, I realized the firm wasn't the wizard. They were the smoke and mirrors. I'd been the one conjuring the magic, and they'd forgotten to lock the spellbook. I exhaled slowly, leaning back in my chair. This could change everything. Not out of spite, but survival. They'd dangled my earnings like a carrot, assuming I'd keep chasing. But carrots rot, and I was done playing fetch. The next morning, I acted normal, coffee run, small talk about the weather. But under the surface,
Gears turned.
I scheduled a casual check-in with Victor at Hawthorne. Just housekeeping on the dashboard, I said over email. He replied instantly. Always appreciate your efficiency. Emily, let's hop on at noon. The call was quick. Professional. I mentioned aligning vendor details for compliance. He didn't blink. Why would he? I'd been his go-to for years. Send over the docs, he said. We trust your setup. I hung up, pull steady, and drafted the amendment. Subtle changes. Vendor of record, Apex Analytics. LLC. No shift in services. Just clarity. Legal on their end would skim it, sign it,
Move on.
they always did. Meanwhile, Karen's follow-up email landed. Circling back, bonus escalated to finance. More delays. More excuses. I marked it red, then archived it. No reply. Instead, I cloned the dashboard's backend to my private servers, modular. Seamless. Like I designed it to be. Years of foresight paying off. By lunch, the transition was invisible, but ironclad. Mark swung by my desk, oblivious. Hey,
Ink.
got that report for the Q2 review. I nodded, handed it over.
Inside.
I was already miles ahead, building a bridge out of their negligence. That night, at home in my cramped Brooklyn apartment, I reviewed the contract again. Clause 9C glowed like a beacon. They'd never reassigned it because they didn't understand it. To them, it was just another box checked.
To me,
It was leverage. I sipped tea, staring out at the city lights, feeling the weight lift. This wasn't theft. It was reclamation. They'd undervalued me long enough, missed promotions. Stolen credit. Now stolen pay. Time to balance the books. Wednesday blurred into routine, but tension simmered. I forwarded the amended contract to Victor. As discussed, his response, signed and filed. Finance will route payments to Apex starting next cycle.
simple as that.
No fanfare. Just a quiet shift in power. I watched my LLC's inbox light up with confirmations. The firm's systems still hummed, but the core, the analytics engine, was now mine. They'd notice soon, when queries bounced or data lagged. But by then, it'd be too late. The first ripple hit Thursday morning. An email from finance. Discrepancy in Hawthorne billing. Copied to Mark, the CFO, and a junior attorney. I wasn't on it yet, but I could hear the whispers starting. Cubicle walls thin as paper. Mark's face tightened as he read it. Then he shot me a glance. Casual, but probing. Emily, you handle Hawthorne's tech side, right? Anything off? I shrugged. Running smooth as ever. He nodded, but his eyes lingered.
Inside.
The build-up was electric, like storm clouds gathering, heavy with promise. By midday, the war room, our glass-walled conference space, was booked solid. Execs huddled, laptops open, voices muffled but urgent. I walked past on a coffee break, catching snippets. Vendor mismatch. How did this slip? Clause 9C. I thought.
That's how.
They'd signed it blindly, too busy chasing quarterly wins to read the fine print. I'd flagged it in my initial report, recommend formal transfer post-integration. Ignored, like most of my suggestions.
Now.
It was biting back. Victor followed up personally. Emily, everything's golden on our end. Appreciate the seamless handoff. I replied with thanks, then checked my Apex dashboard. First invoice routed, $150K for Q1 maintenance. Their money, now mine. The firm would see the redirect soon. Payroll, still delayed. Karen's latest. One more week. System upgrade. I laughed softly. Alone at my desk. Upgrades. If only they knew. Afternoon brought the first direct ping. From legal. Quick sync on Hawthorne contract history? I accepted the invite. Walking in calm as a summer lake. 2 attorneys.
Harried.
Papers scattered. Emily. Walk us through the initial setup. I did. Factual. No embellishments. My LLC as interim vendor. Clause 9C. No transfer. Their faces paled.
This.
Wasn't reassigned. I shook my head. Not that I'm aware. Silence stretched. Thick with implication. They thanked me.
Dismissed me.
But the seed was planted. That evening. The pressure mounted. Mark called me into his office. Door closed, a rarity.
Ink.
Level with me. Hawthorne's rerouting payments. What's going on? His tone was buddy-buddy. But sweat beaded on his forehead. I met his eyes. Just compliance alignment. They preferred the original vendor setup. He leaned forward. Original? That's us. I paused, letting the moment hang. Technically, it's Apex, my entity. Per the contract.
His jaw tightened.
We need to fix this. I nodded.
Sure.
But it's signed. He dismissed me, fuming. Outside. The office buzzed with unease. People avoided my gaze. Sensing the shift. Friday dawned with chaos brewing. Emails flew, CC chains growing like weeds. CFO involved now. Urgent. Hawthorne vendor audit. I wasn't looped in. But a colleague slipped me a heads up. They're freaking out upstairs. Good. Let them. I'd already onboarded 2 referrals from Victor, smaller funds, but hungry for reliable analytics. My LLC's pipeline filling while theirs drained. The explosion came at 2 p.m. CEO stormed into the war room. Voice booming through glass. Who the hell dropped the ball on this? Fingers pointed, legal. Ops.
Mark.
But the truth echoed. Me. I'd built it. Owned it. And now claimed it. Not malice.
But justice.
They treated me like disposable code.
Now.
The code was rewriting itself. By close of business, the board was notified. Whispers turned to murmurs. $10 million at risk. I packed my bag early, slipping out unnoticed. At home, I poured wine, reviewed new client docs. The damming had broken. The flood was coming. Monday hit like a freight train. The office thrummed with tension, air thick as fog. I arrived at 9 a.m., badge swiping as usual. But eyes followed me, curious, wary. Slack exploded with side channels. Hawthorne drama? Ignored them. My focus, Apex. 3 new inquiries overnight. Networks spreading like roots. At 9:45, the invite landed. Urgent meeting, Hawthorne transition. War room. Full house. I walked in last, taking a seat at the end. CEO at the head. Red-faced. Mark avoided my gaze. Legal led. Emily? Explain the vendor shift. I did, calm. Chronological. Integration via Apex. Clause 9C. No amendment. Hawthorne's preference. Silence fell. Heavy. CEO exploded. This is our client. How is your side gig owning our tech? I leaned back. It's not a gig. It's the contract you approved. Murmurs erupted. Fingers jabbed at printouts. But facts stood firm. They grilled me. Threats veiled as questions. We can sue. I smiled faintly. On what grounds? Negligence? The room chilled. Legal whispered to CEO. She's right. Binding. Mark chimed in. Desperate. Let's collaborate. Reassign it back. I paused. letting emotion flicker. Years of slights surfacing.
Why?
So you can delay my bonus again.
Gasps.
Truth hung.
Raw.
Dismissed. I returned to my desk. Whispers amplified. By lunch. HR circled. Karen. Notepad in hand. Emily. Opportunity for clarity. Declined. Her email followed. Misunderstanding. Let's align.
Archived.
Victor's confirmation arrived. Full transition complete. Referrals incoming. My LLC buzzed. Payments. Queries. The firm's empire cracking. Afternoon brought fallout. Stock dipped slightly, rumors leaking. Execs scrambled. Damage control. A text from a friend in finance. Boards livid. Lost the backbone. Yes. I'd been the spine. Unappreciated.
Now.
Upright on my own. Tuesday amplified the quake. Media whispers. Vanguard client defection? Denials issued. Internally. Layoffs loomed. $10M hole gaping. Mark pulled me aside. Name your price. Too late. The price was respect, I said softly. He deflated. Referrals poured in, Hawthorne's network trusting my track record. By Wednesday, resignation drafted. Not dramatic, simple. Effective immediately. I hit send at noon. CCNG all. Chaos ensued, calls. Please. Ignored. Walked out. Head high. The air outside tasted free. The co-working space in Manhattan hummed with quiet energy, startups typing. No corporate BS. My new desk overlooked the Hudson. Sunlight streaming. First week post-Vanguard. Invoices cleared. $500K quarterly from Hawthorne alone. Referrals tripled. Funds seeking independent analytics. Tired of firm bureaucracy. Back at Vanguard. The void echoed. Reports surfaced, systems lagging. Clients grumbling. They'd tried replicating my dashboard. Failed miserably. Legal battles loomed. But Clause 9C held like steel. A lawsuit? Dismissed early. Judge cited their oversight. CEO's statement. Internal restructuring. Code for panic. Mark messaged. Coffee? Clear the air.
Declined.
Karen emailed. Exit interview?
No.
They didn't deserve closure. I'd given years. They gave excuses. New clients thrilled. You're the real deal, one said. Built trust organically, no flash. Just results. Evenings. I reflected. Wine in hand. City lights twinkling. Was it ethical? They'd built on my foundation. Claimed my wins. Reclamation. Not revenge. Ripples spread. Industry buzz about the claws that stole an empire. Anonymous posts praise the underdog. Vanguard's rep tarnished. Talent fleeing.
Me?
Thriving. Apex now a boutique firm. Hires in pipeline. A month in. Victor called. Emily? You're irreplaceable. Smiled. Finally heard. 6 months later. Apex Analytics occupied a sleek office in Soho. Team of 5. All sharp. Undervalued refugees from big firms. Revenue hit $2 million. Projections soaring. Hawthorne loyal. Referrals endless. Vanguard? Struggling. Client exodus. Stock plummeting. CEO ousted. Mark demoted. Whispers of bankruptcy. I didn't gloat, focus forward. But late nights. Doubt crept. Did I destroy lives?
No.
Their arrogance did. Clause 9C was their mirror, reflecting neglect. A new inquiry. Ex-Vanguard client. Heard your story. Need real expertise.
Onboard them.
Cycle continued, empowering the overlooked. In the end, it wasn't about money. It was the question lingering. What happens when the invisible becomes seen? When the gears revolt? In corporate America, Empires crumble on forgotten clauses. And sometimes, the quiet ones rebuild them stronger. What would you do if the keys were in your hand?